your greatest hope for the future? And that can be as global as you want it to be or as personal as you want it to be.
Well, I want more happiness, and I want more enjoyable things going on in this world. I sometimes worry that my home state of Louisiana, the Saints and LSU are a diversion because people aren't very happy in their lives. I'd like to find, and I think that happiness comes because maybe we're not as competitive as we could be. And so, and I just would like to see that we're more productive. I think if you're more productive, that you have a sense of more satisfaction. I found so much satisfaction with what my children are doing. My kids have all been successful. My wife is primarily the mother of my kids, are responsible for their success primarily. But I'd like to think, I have a share in that. I've got some skin in the game, if you will, in terms of my investment of time and effort there. And so there is a lot of rewarding things going on in this state if we just feel better about ourselves. I don't want to see the Saints be a diversion, or the LSU or these other things be a diversion. I want them to kind of be the dessert after we've had a full, successful week and we've got an enjoyable job and our quality of life is better than it was, say, a few years back. I don't think we sing enough. I'm trying to get my wife to take, nobody tell this, I'm trying to get my wife to take dance lessons. I'm not very good, I'm a clumsy dancer. I don't think we dance enough and sing enough. When's the last time you wrote a poem? I'm a lousy writer. Well, I'm a pretty good writer on my website. I kind of brag on myself. But I'm a terrible poet. I always wanted to be a poet. But every now and then I'll sit down and write a poem. I can't paint worth a darn, but my little granddaughter, my grandkid's little granddaughter, loves to paint. And so I'll sit there and kind of paint with her. Exploring our lives a lot more. I just have hopes for the state that we can accentuate and explore a little bit more than maybe we have in the past, because we're just so creative. But I think in the last 20 years or so, with Katrina and oil spills and the economy and so many things that happened, we've got a little down on ourselves, and I want to kind of lift us back up, if you will. And some people can do it with religion. I'm concerned that church membership is falling off dramatically in this country. Some people do it just getting out on a Friday or Saturday night, this darn TV. I wish we could, some of the TV I wish we'd get rid of. The number of hours that our kids watch TV rather than getting out and going to live concerts and doing things like that. So I wish there was some way, if I can make one commitment, and I think maybe I am by talking about it and writing about it and working on my website and putting some interesting things on that website. That's kind of my way of trying to lift everybody up a little bit more. If we'd all pitch in and do that, boy, this could be just it's a marvelous place to live right now, but it could really be so much better.
Wonderful. Enough of the softball questions. Here's one that's going to get you in trouble. Tell me about Tiger football.
Well, let me tell you that, and I don't know when you folks are going to be watching this at home, but you want to talk about someone being in a dilemma. I told you before that I went to the University of North Carolina.
Absolutely.
I was the Dean Smith's first recruit. North Carolina gave me my education. The athletic programs allowed me to go tour over Europe. I made some money touring over Europe as a semi-professional, paid my way through law school. North Carolina was awfully good to me. They name a race at the track meet after me. I'm a big supporter. I write them checks. I go back several times a year. I love North Carolina. Over here. All my kids went to LSU. My wife went to LSU. We've had lifetime season tickets in Tiger Stadium. Got pretty decent seats there in Tiger Stadium. Go to every game. I've kind of learned to bleed purple and gold. I taught Louisiana political history at LSU. I've been a professor there. So you talk about a conflict with that game, and I was torn. And North Carolina was in the rankings ranked ahead of us. But they lost 9 starters, I think. 13 of their players could not play. 9 of their starters, their best receiver, their best fullback, couldn't even play against LSU. So I thought it was going to be a slaughter. Then all of a sudden, this game becomes very, very tight. And I waited, and I'll be very honest with you LSU fans out there. I thought, well, North Carolina has all these folks on suspension. I don't think they're going to have that great of a year. But if LSU, it's going to talk about getting diverted. If LSU doesn't have a good season this year, it's going to shut down the economy and everything else. That's all people are going to be consumed by. So towards the end, I was kind of pulling for LSU because I felt like in the scheme of things, it meant more to them than it meant to North Carolina. I don't know about how many of you ever saw that game, but I mean, Carolina had 2 passes in the end zone. If that boy would have caught them, they'd have won the game. And it'd have been marvelous, and I'd have been pleased either way. But if I had to add up all the pros and cons on my cheat sheet, if you will, I'd have probably hoped the game meant more to LSU. It meant Les Miles' job, and it meant the future of the program. They just take it a lot more seriously. At North Carolina, after that game, there were some tears. Then the next day, they were off doing something else. It doesn't mean as much to them like it doesn't. And so, for the sake of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, the state, I end up pulling a bit for LSU.
Yeah, this state throws a mean pout. We don't need that. Our guest today on InsideLouisianaNews.com has been the ever-talkative and informative Jim Brown. Thanks for being with us.
Well, thank you, and I hope your viewers want to learn more about me or follow some things we've talked about. Just go to JimBrownUSA.com. That's www.JimBrownUSA.com. You can sign up for a weekly newsletter and kind of stay up with me. And if you disagree with me on what I'm saying on the show, and I'm sure some of you do, well, email me. I'll use it on my radio show, and you can tune me in on Sunday mornings from 9 to 11. A lot of stations around the country. It's best to go to the website, listen to it on the website. It has a list of all the stations. But call me and say, Brian, I heard you on that interview, and I disagree with you. Well, I'd like to hear from you. And I'm glad to be here with you today, Ted. It's been fun to do this interview.
Very good.